allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3.0, roll call. Let the record reflect that all members are present. 4.0, student rep. No student rep, so move on to 5.0, agenda additions and deletions.
I put in front of you we missed a couple of volleyball coaches this winter. In junior high we had, actually had about 24 kids come out. So midway through we got some help for that as well. So you can see those two people there.
And I have something to bring up on the additions and deletions. I'd like to bring up a discussion on winterizing the junior high building and a discussion on superintendent's evaluation.
So let's just go during new business.
Yep.
Need a motion to, let's make a motion to add both those. 12.9 would be the winterization and the 13 or 12.10 would be the superintendent evaluation.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Addie, second by Sather. Any discussion?
These two items would typically more be appropriate for committee meetings before we come to a regular meeting, so we have the whole board has some kind of background and information, and we can discuss the issues with facts, figures, and things. So that would be my recommendation, is that these be scheduled for, my recommendation would be scheduled to have these in committee meetings.
Yeah.
But on the junior high building, with the winter weather is setting in, it'll be very cold next week, but we don't know if we're going to keep that building heated, or what are we going to do? Are we going to winterize it, or?
I mean, just as part of the discussion, I mean, the last board decided to vacate that building, and it's condemned, and so we were...
Well, it's not condemned.
It is condemned.
Put in my conference.
I didn't word the letter. What do you mean it was condemned?
It's condemned. We cannot hold, we have not been able to put kids in that building for years because it doesn't have access.
Well, no. That's not my point. We know that we should have the discussion. I mean, it's no longer used for educational purposes.
Right.
Okay, so it's not condemned. Okay, it just doesn't have, handicap accessibility, it doesn't have elevator, and plus you just have no use for the space. So, but winterizing it, would be, it's something that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
You have to prevent any further damage to the building.
Would this be something we'd want to get in a committee meeting on, something you could add during the administrative report, or schedule it, or however you would like to schedule the meetings? Mr. Carey, I guess I don't know.
Well, there was a motion, I guess.
Well, there's a motion on the table, so you got to do something with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, is that an option? All right, we can take a vote on it. All in favor of adding these to the agenda tonight for new business, 12.9 and 12.10?
All in favor of adding for discussion?
Or just add, well, yeah, it would be,
Okay.
yeah. All in favor for adding it to the agenda tonight?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Me? No.
No. Okay. Oh, it passes, so we will have 12.9. Winterization. And 12.10 will be super eval. Now we have to, I think that's all we have to do here. Next is 6.0 visitor input. I don't have anyone signed up, did you?
Yeah, Paul wants to-
Okay.
For the record, I'm Polly And as you know, in January of this year, January 28th, I submitted a complaint to the school board. And it's been 9 months since my complaint. And as far as I know, it has not been addressed. 2 months ago, at 7 months, I submitted another letter to this board. I had heard nothing back except one board member acknowledged that they had received it. And so for 2 more months now, this complaint has not been addressed. And I'm here to ask you tonight, why? Why not?
Is there any reason why?
That was advised, legal counsel.
I don't think it's prudent to have dialogue during public
Yeah, we're not
input.
supposed to dialogue during it, but would Mr. Carey look into that?
Well, come on now. Don't skirt the subject. Don't say there can't be dialogue. Michael, you've said that so many times before. All that's doing is skirting the problem. For 9 months now, you haven't addressed it, and I've been more than patient. And somebody said at a ridiculous amount of time at the previous meeting. Well, this is a ridiculous amount of time, as I also said in my in my second letter. Now, you mean to tell me that there's no one here that can tell me why it hasn't been yet addressed? And what's the proper form? I have asked and I have communicated with the former chair. I got no response. I communicated with Mr. Carey. He gave me a response that did not comply with the open meeting law. The existence and status of a complaint under the open meeting law is public information. The name of a person, an employee, the existence of it, I know it exists, and I was asking for what the status is. And it's been 9 months, and I have not received an answer. What is the status of that complaint? I can read you, Michael, I can read you the statute. It's public information, along with other employee information, and just kind of
I
waiting
will
for an
tell
answer.
you why I haven't responded.
Thank you.
Because the reason why I have not responded is there's always a threat of suing, whether it's by community members or anybody else at the table. So that's why I have chosen not to respond, because the more you talk, I'm afraid of repercussions legally. So that is why I choose not to.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
And that, like I said, that's with community members, anybody in the school district, anybody, just blanket, anybody.
But is it not the board's responsibility to address a complaint? And how many complaints do we have? Just one complaint or two?
Mr. Chair, I
Two
don't know
I
if
know
this
of
is
for sure.
appropriate for discussion.
Yeah,
during
probably at
public
this
input.
point, but we'll have to do
Thank you for your input,
I don't
Ms.
think my
Sorkin.
5 minutes is over yet, and Mr. Peterson, you are not the chair. You know, I'll just repeat in both letters, I think it's your duty and your responsibility as board members. Now, if you had a complaint against a student, would you look into it, investigate it, make a decision, and take appropriate action if necessary? Or a teacher, and have you ever done that? Have you done it this year? To a teacher, a staff member, anybody, a student? And if you have, then it's hypocritical not to do it in this case. Does it matter who the complaint is about, or does it just matter that there's a complaint and it's your responsibility to take care of it? You know, I'm just going to repeat this for the public because nobody else saw my letters and my my concerns. But, all right, you took an oath of office, every one of you board members, and your oath says, you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and to discharge faithfully the duties of your office to the best of your judgment and ability. Okay, so we've got statutes in Minnesota, and your powers and your duties and responsibilities, it says the board must have the charge of the business of the district, the schoolhouses, the interests of the schools, and your authority is to govern, manage, control, and these duties include implied and specific powers. Now, you mean to tell me that you don't think that complaints and problems and school culture and community culture and reputation is not your business and only curriculum and whatever? I just don't understand why you're skirting the issue. You have passed a code of ethics. You're not following your own school member board of ethics, as far as I'm concerned. And whether you may be interested or concerned about a lawsuit, Randy, if if that's what happens, then so be it, you deal with it. If it comes to that severity, or not in any situation, not just mine, then you can't say, well, I'm not going to respond to your complaint because it might be a lawsuit. I thank you for at least sharing that, but I don't think it's an appropriate answer. And then you have school policies. You have a technology policy, and you have in your policy, if it's broken, you have to first of all decide whether a policy has been broken or not, and then you decide what to do about it, if anything. All right, if a student breaks the policy, or anybody else, staff member, you need to check into it, decide, and take action or no action. That's all I'm asking. And in this case, 9 months and no dealing with it. And as I understand, as word goes around town, there are other complaints. And as far as I know, you have chosen to ignore them too. I think it's a shame. A shame.
Good, thank you.
No answer.
Thank you for your input, Pollyann.
Yeah, I'm just thanking you for your input. She the only one signed up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I did, Mike.
No, I'm just asking if you're the only one signed up. Okay, 7.0, approve agenda. Get a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make the motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. Motion by Lotiger,
I'll second.
second by Saylor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. 8.0, approve the treasurer's report for the second check writing of October.
The second check writing for 2nd of October is general fund had disbursements of $142,061.59. Food service disbursements $47,411.29. Transportation $6,497.21. Community education $7,406. Capital outlay $1,874.06. OPE bond disbursements $2,425.50 for a total of $207,627.71. And I will so move to approve the treasurer's report at this time.
I'll second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9.0 is consent agenda. Item A is approved minutes of the regular meeting of Monday, October 9th, 2017. And B is approved 2017-2018 extracurricular assignments. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. all in
I
favor?
have one question on the motion I made in the minutes of the meeting. After my motion was made, there you have in here, there is a sentence made where there was a statement made, and is that a statement a part of the regular minutes of the meeting?
The Director Generally has already been, that was a statement made during the meeting.
But my question is the statement part of the minutes of the meeting?
Oh, your statement that you made, you're talking?
Well, if this statement is, I didn't make this statement, so what I'm asking then is, my statement that I made prior to that motion, is that also part of the minutes then? Should that be added into the minutes?
I think
What
it's
statement would that be, Tom?
the one where he's already begun receiving invoices for all confidential data redacted. Correct? That's one you were referring to?
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why that would be in there is because that was the outcome of that motion.
Yeah, it wasn't stated by you, that's just that it's
Yeah.
stating that that has already happened.
That's not a statement you made, that was discussed during the meeting, and it was, so basically it's just stating the outcome
okay.
of your motion.
All right, so No, I just want a clarification on a statement is part of the minutes of the meeting. Right? So if you make a statement,
It's not a statement by
Yeah,
anybody. It's the outcome of
Yeah, it's-
the motion you had
yeah.
made.
okay,
Have you, all right.
answer my question.
So I had, for the extracurricular activities, I was just wondering, do we happen to know when the basketball for the junior high is being filled by chance?
Posted, doesn't it?
It is posted.
Okay.
They're looking.
Okay. I just know that there's interested parties, so, okay. That was it.
Any further discussion?
That one's actually not up yet.
Okay.
That's 11.1 that you're talking
Oh, yeah, winter coaching. I think you mean you're talking about 11.1, not...
Did I look at the wrong one? Thank you, Mr. Carey.
In any event, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. 10.0 is scratched. 11.0 personnel. 11.1 is approved 2017-2018 winter coaching appointments.
There, you can obviously see there's some opens there yet with the younger ones, but by the time we meet again, a lot of these seasons will have started, so we wanted to at least get that part done with. We are looking for the rest of them, though.
Make a motion to approve the winter coaching assignments.
Okay, motion by Saylor.
I will second.
Who wants it? Second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 12.0, new business. 12.1 is approve updated Dean of Students job description.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson. I'll second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.2 is approve updated principal job description.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Saylor, second by Andrews. Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Okay.
In there it says reporting relationship, the principal reports to the district superintendent. I guess my question is, being that we are a district in the situation where the superintendent is also the acting principal for the Franklin, and all other principals receive evaluations, who's completing those evaluations? Can we have it put in there that in the event that the superintendent is acting in the role as well of principal, that the school board complete the evaluation, or a committee of the board complete the evaluation?
I don't know if that's wise, because, I mean, we're trying to evaluate a person where you know what they're doing every day, and we wouldn't know what that, even if it is a superintendent, what they're doing as a principal every day.
Well-
Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the principal evaluated by a panel, or?
No, it's by
No.
me.
It's just one person?
Okay.
So,
They technically need someone evaluating their work.
Right.
so my,
How do we
I see
evaluate
the
a
point.
principal that we don't know what they're doing every day? Right?
I get it, but
but if we have a job description to go by, and, you know, I don't know if we can do surveys or whatever the case may be, but we're in a situation where the other principal, you know, is evaluated, or principals are evaluated, it should be the same across the board. Mountain Iron Buell, because I did my research on this, Mountain Iron Buell, that is how they do it. The school board does the evaluation, because they are in the same situation where their superintendent is also an acting principal at their elementary school, and that's how they do it.
Do they do a superintendent evaluation or a principal evaluation?
Both.
Well, that's my point, is that there's two different functions there.
Both.
Okay, so,
So I'm just, you know, if we're looking at redoing these job descriptions, it says the principal reports to the district superintendent, I'm just thinking to, cover all the bases, that we need to have something that
But
states.
as far as this job description goes, though, I'm not a principal by job description. I mean, that's an added duty.
Just
So
stipend.
you would have to, if you decided to continue with that, you could make a stipulation as part of that agreement, but I wouldn't change what they're doing.
Okay,
As
because
part of the
like I said,
job
I was just
assignment, you
looking
could
for
change it to
wording
that.
that stated that in the event that the superintendent is acting as the principal, that's who would do the evaluation, just to cover all the bases. I mean, I'd also like to suggest we as a board review the needs of the Franklin this spring in regard to that principal position.
And if we continue with that, we can add that into the
That's
script.
typically, normally we have that administration, during the budget conversation on, what do we, I mean, does that make sense, Jeff? Isn't that normally how we've normally brought that up, is during the function of the
Think so.
budget? Talking
Whenever
about
it comes time.
administration?
So
I just want-
what are you asking them for?
Well, I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it is, but the principal reports to the principal reports to the district superintendent. And we're a school district in the situation where the superintendent is acting as principal for the Franklin. And, it's out of fairness to the other principals, I feel, the acting principal needs to be evaluated as well.
It's not really an acting, it's a stipend principle of less than basically a
That's what I'm saying.
.1, I
We
mean,
could add it into the,
But for any
Rules of the
future
stipend.
principals that come in, right?
But,
well,
I don't want to add it to the
further
actual
that,
principles.
and to further that discussion, I'm just saying, as a board, I suggest that we look at that, that stipend situation, or whether or not we want to hire a principal, but to review and look at the needs of the Franklin prior to next fall, so we can get something going before school starts next fall, is what I'm asking.
And then I'm saying, if we continued with the stipend, I think it would be reasonable to add that to the stipend, like.
the stipend language,
The
not
language.
necessarily the
Yeah,
job
not necessarily,
description.
because this is just for the principals themselves. Technically, he's acting principal due to a stipend, but he's not actually the principal per se, I guess. I don't know. It
Well,
gets
and that's-
confusing.
I wonder if it's written in or something. I mean, it would be interesting if they actually have it written into the job description, or if they have it written in to the stipend or into that piece where they're doing that job as the interim, that they're being evaluated on that basis along with the superintendent position.
Well, it's, a different situation. He's actually the acting, he is the principal and the super, whereas, we have our superintendent
Yeah.
is also, he's acting as principal.
Yeah.
Right
See,
now.
I mean,
So-
the bigger
Yeah.
conversation here, I mean, we're getting kind of muddied in job description here, but
I think
Yeah.
it's important
that,
you get
excuse me, Bill.
clarification.
Yeah,
Excuse
it's-
me, Bill. The biggest reason why we have the situation we have is because this board and the previous board are not able to make a decision. The reason why we did a stipend principal in that position is because one person left and another person left, and it was kind of a stopgap measure until we decided what we were going to do. And to Kelly's point earlier in the hour, we still haven't made any decisions to do anything, and nothing's changed in the last 2 years. So that's why we're still where we are. And it's all part of the bigger conversation, and until we start making decisions, and I agree, we should start making decisions, but every time we make a decision, we go backwards because that's
Well,
what we've been doing. But I think this conversation is about a job description, and I get what you're trying to say, but I think we don't have a full-time position, principal in that situation. I think just for updating a job description, we should just update the job description and move forward.
And I think that would be part of the goals and evaluation that would be written in to, I would expect that it would be part of this year's, however, I did not do this year's, but it would be something that would be evaluated for next year. For, that would be part of the job duties on top of the superintendent, as well. So not only are you following that job description, but you're also following these responsibilities as the acting principal right now.
Yeah, and my whole point is just to make sure that we are covering all our bases.
And evaluating for that position.
Everybody that needs to be evaluated.
I agree.
Right, so-
Shouldn't be evaluating them,
So
so.
I'll ask
Yep.
the question again. What you're looking for is the board to evaluate the principal, correct? Or have some part in
Not
it?
the principal, not it's just, it gets muddy because we have a superintendent acting as the
right.
principal. So it would be just that situation, just the situation if we have a superintendent acting as the principal, that person needs to be evaluated and our current superintendent can't evaluate himself as the
Right.
principal. So I'm throwing it out there that an option would be for the board to do that. Because it does say the principal reports to the superintendent and is responsible to that person. Well, it's the same person in Franklin.
But
And so
then- But wouldn't this job description be for the next principal coming in?
the
For
job.
a principal.
For a
Any
principal,
principal.
for a principal.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay,
I'm
so then
just
take
saying.
and take the superintendent out of it, any stipend, and just have a principal.
Yeah.
And then just add in to who's going to do the evaluation.
My point is, the wording would be, in the event that there is a superintendent acting as the principal, that principal would be evaluated by the school board. Just for that principal. Otherwise, the superintendent, that is his job duty, is to evaluate the junior high principal and the high school principal.
That could be put
But
in
it
the
would be
superintendent
our
job
board-
description, too.
It would be our board responsibility to evaluate the superintendent who is acting as principal. That's all I'm saying,
Okay.
just to be
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
across the board
Yes,
thorough.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is just for the principal's position. I'm just looking at this as the
this
principal's
is-
job
This is
title.
a general,
Okay, this is the job title, right?
right.
Who's going to evaluate this principal?
The superintendent does.
Superintendent.
How, it- yes,
Yeah.
how it's written,
Okay.
any of our principals,
Okay, now-
And
the
that's where,
superintendent
how it's done
evaluates.
in other school districts.
Okay,
The superintendent
Yeah.
evaluates the principals, but we have a
Okay.
superintendent acting as the principal. Got that?
yes.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of the job description?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're moving to 12.3, approve updated counselor job description.
No motion.
Motion by Andrews, support by Peterson. Any discussion on this one?
Yep.
Okay.
There is a typo, just so you know, under M. I don't know if it's important, but there's a typo, and interested programs is twice in there. And then I believe for education and/or experience, a master's is required, not a BA or BS degree.
We'll give Miss Williams a demerit.
Thank you. Not the demerit part, but thank you for addressing.
We work together.
Okay.
You're not supposed to admit that.
Nice job, though.
Way to not throw her under the
Yes.
bus.
Any further discussion on that?
Thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry, aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll move on to 12.4, approve updated Title I teacher job description.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson,
I would
Support.
second.
support by Lotiger. Any discussion on this one? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
See that? The one I did, no discussion.
12.5 will be approved resolution number 648, appointing election judges.
No motion.
Motion by Andrews,
Support.
support by Gentilini. Any discussion?
It's only one thing, when this was put out, we never did put the date that the election was going to be handled or voted on. There was no date put into the flyer that went out to all the districts.
Oh, well,
The date of the actual polling.
The same date as every other election.
I know, but it should have been, well,
Yeah.
there was no date on it, right?
But it's the date that you...
Yeah, it's a date.
It's the first Tuesday after the first Monday,
Right.
whatever, however it's written.
And there's other special midterm elections going on too, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the date.
that's
I
all
mean, I get
hindsight
what you're
on,
saying, but it is just...
on this resolution. There's dates on there at least, so
Right.
this will require a roll call.
We're done?
I don't know, are we done with discussion? Okay, roll call.
Director Gentilini?
Yes,
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Addy?
Yes,
Director Sather?
Yes.
Director Chad?
Yes.
Director Andrews?
Yes.
Director Peterson? Yes. Motion carries.
Moving on to 12.6, approve the CEP agreement with Mesabi Range College.
Both this one and the next one these are, anytime we offer a class that is college within the schools, we have to have a cooperating institution that sponsors that class. And we actually have these two, and we also have our science through Lake Superior College too, but that one was already done, so there you have it.
Okay. Get a motion to accept that?
I will make a motion to accept that.
Motion by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Sather. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.7 will be approve the CEP agreement with Vermillion Community College.
I'll make a motion to approve the CP agreement with Vermillion Community College as well.
Motion by Sather, second by Andrews. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.8 will be set closed session to discuss school security.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson. I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll hold that after the administrative report. 12.9 will be the winterization of the junior high building. Stage is yours.
right. Jeff, have we done anything to winterize that building? Is the heat been cut off? Are we planning on heating it, or what are you planning on, doing with the building?
We are doing nothing with that building.
Okay? You're not going to winterize the building?
It was drained last year when the board decided to vacate it, and we haven't really touched it since.
So has there been any winter, has there been any antifreeze? Has the pipes been blown out? Has the fire suppression system been blown out? Has the water been shut off? Or what have we done to the building?
That would be a question for Director of Buildings and Grounds.
Okay.
It's
Because
not my area.
I think it's important, I just don't feel that, the building's in rough shape. I think that if you were, depending on what the board's gonna do with that building, if they decide to sell it or demolish it or whatever, I just feel that it would be, it's probably worth more to the city of Eveleth, sold as a piece of taxpaying property, not to the city of Eveleth, or to somebody, than it is to tear it down, it would cost a ton of money to tear that building down. And it would be worth a lot less money if we decided as a board not to winterize that building and have pipes break, and it would be less appealing to some person who would want to buy that building.
I
Being
believe
that
we,
it froze up.
I believe we kept a low level of heat on that building during the winter, didn't we?
It was vacated in, might have been the second week of March. We shut her down. Chicagami was there till the end of February.
So if we just kept that building just above freezing, you only have to keep it up at about 40 degrees, 45 degrees.
Can't do that, though.
Why not?
Because all the steam trap, well, not all, but most of the steam traps would need to be replaced. You can't regulate heat in there.
So we're just going to let this building freeze up and the radiators crack and let every every inch of, or every piece of pipe that's got water in it gonna freeze, and is that what the plan is?
I'm just doing what the board told me to shut her down, I shut her down.
I mean, I don't think that would be, I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, if someone wanted to, so what does the board want to do with that building that's vacated? Why don't we put it up for sale?
So then why don't we put it up for sale?
Yeah, let's put it up for sale.
We should keep a low level of heat there.
But
I mean,
you're either heating it or you're not heating it, there's no low level of heat in it.
So just for conversation, the reason why the last board, I mean, A, nobody's ever showed interest in that building, and B,
I mean, if we ever
the
put,
last board was, members of the last board were concerned on not selling that physical piece of real estate, because if we did redo this campus, some of the options that we were presented to by the numerous architects that we talked with utilized that space with either a bus garage, tennis courts, parking, and nobody in this room understands that this district is really landlocked with city around us, so giving up any potential real estate before we make any buildings and grounds decisions probably wouldn't be the wisest move to make as far as selling it, if you want to go that far.
I mean, the cost of tearing it down far outweighs, the cost of tearing it down
Compared to
selling it, I mean, you'd be in the black all day long. That piece of property's not worth that much.
But again, I'm sounding like a broken record, but this is another example of financial decisions we continue to find ourselves stuck in for failure to make any decisions.
But look at
But this is just, I mean, we have no one else to blame but us. So either we buck up and start making decisions, or we just keep sitting on this hamster wheel, which I'm not okay with.
And to Mr. Director Sather's points is, I mean, that's why the previous board took steps to vacate that building. We went through the public hearing for educational purposes. We closed it. We also went through the process of abating that building.
No, it hasn't been abated.
Well, but we went through the process and started getting quotes and started budgeting for it. And that's because of the expense that has been on to the district for 42 years. I mean, there hasn't been
that building wasn't, I don't think there was a bid given on that building to abate it. There was
Yeah, we haven't been on it.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, the intentions of the previous board was that building was a liability financially to the district, and we were cutting that liability down.
I honestly think you should put it up for sale and get rid of it. It's a big liability right now. I mean, you got $800,000 to tear it down. That piece of property ain't worth $800,000.
I don't think that we should sell that at this point, when we, as a board, need to prioritize, like I mentioned in the committee meeting, we need to prioritize what we want to get accomplished. So selling that building right now would be jumping the gun.
But would you be able to, if you sold that, if you decide you're going to keep that piece of property, would you be able to get a variance to close that street? Would the city give you variance to vacate that street there?
I mean, the woulda, shoulda, couldas, I mean, are neither
Well,
here nor
okay.
there at this stage. I mean, the whole point is that we really have to make a decision on what we're going to do with our property.
The question is,
And then go from there.
question again. So this board is going to do nothing to winterize, I'm not going to say that, but what is this board going to do to winterize that property?
I would say nothing.
So we're just going to let it freeze up,
I would say so.
and the damage, I would hate to find myself in any sort of wrongdoing with a state statute that I actually sent to Mark Chad, because I've asked him repeated weeks to put stuff on the agenda. And he has, for some reason, has denied.
That statute does not apply to anything you're talking about.
Okay,
I can tell you that from a legal standpoint, so.
Okay.
But in any event, I think that
I mean,
that's,
so this board is going to just let that building freeze up, and it's
I
going
think
to
this
be
is
under-
probably a
So
better
can
decision for the
we-
director of maintenance.
Director Chad, let us talk.
I'm just letting you know,
Can we
I was talking about prior, but whatever.
have so in an attempt to try to get off of our wheel, can we have another another study session, because I feel like until we get it figured out, and obviously we're not going to be getting this figured out in our regular meetings because we still have business to run in these meetings, and we still have a district that needs to have decisions made in these meetings. So we can continue to have work sessions to continue to move us along. I agree with Brandy saying that we need to prioritize what this district is doing, and we need to start making decisions and moving us along. We have these tours coming up at the Alexandria schools. I think we should be going to them. I think we have to be exploring and being open to every possibility right now, because enough is enough and we have to move forward. And I'm not going to sit for the next 3 years on the school board and do nothing. So I would like to have another work session, and we will continue to talk about prioritizing, and this can certainly be part of this, but I agree with what Brandy's saying. Is I also don't think that we should be making a decision until we know exactly what our plan is and where our priorities lie right now. And then, if we have frustrations because we're sitting there letting a building go, then let's make decisions.
Well, the question is, what do you do with the building? You demolish it on speculation if you're going to utilize that, or are you going to sell it? You're going to sell it because the plan of the 9 through 12 academy that's being proposed by by the 2 districts, well, that wouldn't include. You wouldn't need that big a campus. You would think. You know what I'm saying? As far as where would these kids go?
But that may not happen.
I know. You're right. But I'm just saying.
I mean, to Director Sather's and Director Lotiger's points this evening is, I really feel that it would be important if everybody went back and looked at the numerous facility studies we've done since 1979 and start reading forward. We have had these problems at least since 1979 on paper. And Gilbert Public School
We heard
had...
you, Mike, many times over this, right? We've mentioned this many times. But the question is, what are you going to do with the building? Are we going to demolish it, or are we going to sell it? I mean, that's the question.
The problem is we have to make a decision for our school bill.
Yeah.
And we are
one
not
building's
doing that.
Not gonna.
Okay.
I mean, that's my point, that's Director Lotiger's point, that's Director Sather's
So
point, is we need to make a district decision, and then we can decide if you want to buy that building. Or your friends, whatever. I mean, come on.
I know, but that's my point.
We already know that there's unguided tours into that building with your little friends and their...
Yeah.
Wow.
So the whole point was to bring this up for discussion. We've had discussion. It's been brought up that we have a work session. I think we need to move on.
I think a work session,
Yeah.
then we'd have a better chance to kick this all around and
Yeah.
try to make a decision here tonight, one way or the other.
Facilities
I
work
agree with
session.
Yeah.
A work session to discuss our priorities, where we want to go with the school district, prioritizing, because like I said earlier, I just feel like a lot of things have been put on the table and we're not prioritizing. So I'm in support of a work session to discuss that first and foremost, and then we can discuss the winterizing the building or letting it go, whatever we're going to do. But we're not making any decisions on winterizing right now. This is just discussion. So we'll further the discussion in a work session.
Thank you.
That's all we have for that one. 12.10, superintendent evaluation consideration.
I think that we need to look into evaluating the superintendent. I don't know, as far as I know, after a conversation with Mr. Carey in the spring, that an evaluation was never done on Mr. Carey. So I think that it's been, what 3 years, and you've had your contract extended, that we should look into evaluating the superintendent at this point. I mean, even though there was say that a evaluation was done,
There's nothing formal, is what you're
Right.
saying.
but there's nothing on paper.
So my suggestion would be, because I've sent a number of emails regarding this topic as well, and my suggestion would be that we need to be an open board with communication, and we need to be professional about it. And I would suggest that we ask the MSBA to come up and help us to establish some goals so we can evaluate properly. Not only looking at weaknesses, but at strengths. Yes. And I believe that we are going to need help as a board to do that because we've had a lot of butting of heads, and I believe that we need to have MSBA come as mediation to help us establish those goals.
I agree. I mean, I think the MSBA should come up, but I mean, is everybody going to participate? The last time we invited them up here, 2 of our members didn't participate and I think that was, it set the tone, I guess, to go forward.
I agree, though. But I do think we have to set the priority for all of it. I
Right.
mean,
Everybody
to
needs to be
really,
there.
I mean, yeah.
And if we're spending taxpayer money to have them come up to help us figure this out in a fair manner, we owe it to the taxpayers of our communities to all be there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, when we're looking at schedule, yeah, just, so
I
the
just
more
ask that-
advanced that we can get it I would prefer just to try to make sure that I can get it.
And I would ask
Schedule.
that any meeting be set after 4 because I cannot attend if it's prior to 4 o'clock. I have
Usually
work
want to have
commitments.
it afterwards anyways.
So,
Usually around 5 if they have those.
Yeah.
Usually not right, it's usually not
Yes.
during working hours if they have them, usually, so it should be fine.
I mean, to be honest, I think we should bring the MSBA back up for a follow-up thing, but that's my opinion too.
Would you contact them?
Sure.
About both those things then?
Maybe later this winter might not be a bad idea, like, honestly.
I mean-
Especially given us 1 full year into it and
Well,
positivity.
okay,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Now will be the administrative report. 13.0.
All right, I better cruise, you guys got, several of you gotta be out here by 7, so.
We also
And we
have
have
the
a
closed
closed
session.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's be earlier than 7. Yeah. I'd like to. 5 o'clock at 7.
All right, here we go. Our enrollment 9:30 today, so we're holding about steady. Little recognition, one of them sitting in the audience over there, Maddie Jankala and Audrey Delich won the Section 7 doubles tennis, so they're heading on down to state. Maddie's sitting right over there. And Audrey's little 7th grade sister was the singles runner-up, and she's going to state also, so congratulations to them.
Awesome.
Actually, on the sports note, boys, since we didn't have a student rep in Miss Williams' Zell, football plays Wednesday night at Aiken, and there is that volleyball plays Wednesday, football's on Thursday, all right?
Volleyball plays Wednesday.
Volleyball plays Wednesday, boys play tomorrow night in Aiken, football.
Is there a fan bus going on by any chance?
I don't believe so.
And this is their last game?
No, this is the first playoff game.
Oh,
It would-
but
it
they're done
They
with
lose,
their
they're
home
done.
games,
Yeah.
though.
Yep.
Okay.
Same with volleyball. They're playing Greenway and Greenway on Wednesday. All right, talking a little bit about early outs. So over in the elementary, we continued going through working with Apple Classroom. We did some practical application things last Wednesday, and we started in on math and reading curriculum. The last couple of years when we've purchased new curriculum for math and reading in K through 5, we've made sure that it is digital ready, and we're in the process of transferring over from the book onto the iPad now, so we started that process this Wednesday, and on November 6th we actually have a representative from Pearson coming up that is going to help us finish that process, so we're hoping by Christmas time all the kids are going to be in the elementary, are going to be doing their math and reading on the iPad. And then in the high school, and you can add anything you want. We're continuing with the Schoology implementation. We kind of talked about that last time. Making conversion over to the free version that we were using to the enterprise version. And things are going pretty good with that right now. Little rocky start. We have lots of good participation though, so parents should be starting to notice that real soon. Fire Prevention Week at the Franklin. I'd like to thank both Vail and the Eveleth Fire Departments for coming. They gave the kids good demonstrations on Thursday. Wednesday the kids actually went down to the fire hall. The younger kids went for presentation down there, got to go through the fire trucks, had a great time. And then Thursday and Friday, fire departments had a coloring contest, and the winners got to have a ride to school in a fire truck, so there were 6 of them. That was pretty cool. I do want to mention, in case anyone's in Franklin, you wonder who that person is that you didn't hire. We do have a student teacher up there with Miss Young. Her name's Miss Matson. She is a product of Eveleth. In the 3rd grade, doing a good job up there. Actually, one of the first lessons that she did on her own was, and there's a name for it, but I just call it slime, but she had the kids making slime, so they think that she's pretty cool so far. So that's been a good experience. Go ahead.
A couple things at the Gilbert campus. Today, the Duluth Playhouse presented to our 5th and 6th grade Imagination Superheroes. And really their message was anyone can be a hero. And I heard good things about the performance. I was not actually there today as I was in a training at the Service Cooperative, but we thank them for coming. Also, just a few other items on the next slide here. On Friday, we'll have an Australian... Thank you. On Friday, we'll have the Australian music presentation presented by the Public Library System. They'll be here Friday at 9 a.m. in the Gilbert Auditorium. The Junior High Student Council is going to be starting a Thoughtful Thursday on our campus, and I'm looking forward to some of the items that they come up with, whether it be compliments to students, staff members, little trinkets, or just things that come to the top of our mind that we are thoughtful of each other's actions. Then just a quick note on conferences that are coming up. Before you know it, Junior High Conference is Thursday, November 9th, 3:30 to 7. And the Nelshin conferences are Monday and Wednesday the following week from 3:30 to 7. Thank you.
All right, a couple things. We've mentioned the field trips down January. I got the dates down on there, 9 to 2. Anyone interested, give me a ring and I will hook you up with Dr. Schmidt is doing all the planning on that. To add to that, I will call the MSBA and get some things set up there. And I'm also going to call some type of mediator to work with us on making our priorities, and I'll set a date for that as well. It's good to have a third party talking. So I'll give you those dates when they come across, and we'll get her done. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Take a short break and come back into closed session.
Yeah.